Everything begins in the mind. Before power, before success, before respect, there is understanding. The difference between those who drift and those who dominate is not luck. It's awareness. Most people stumble through life half asleep, numb, reactive, enslaved by noise. They mistake their impulses for decisions, their distractions for purpose. They are cattle dressed as thinkers. But the few, the disciplined, the lucid, the cold-eyed few, see what others cannot. They read patterns in chaos. They see weakness behind smiles. They know that perception is control. Because once you truly understand how the world operates, you stop chasing outcomes. You engineer them. And this is where that construction begins. Not in gyms, not in boardrooms. In silence, in observation, in the slow sharpening of thought until it cuts through illusion. What follows isn't self-help, it's self-construction, a redesign of your mental architecture. Every law that follows is a weapon, a blade for your intellect, a shield for your emotions, a mirror for your ego. You're not here to be inspired, you're here to evolve, to strip away delusion until only precision remains. So before we begin, subscribe. Not to support this channel, that's peasant thinking, but to build your wisdom muscle. The faculty that sees through masks, reads the battlefield of human behavior, and never gets played again. And in the comments, write this oath: I train my mind before my moves. Because wisdom is the foundation, power is merely the echo. The natural side effect of a mind trained to conquer itself and by extension, the world that bends to it. Law 1. Be royal in your own fashion, act like a king to be treated like one. Perception arrives before power. The world doesn't reward truth, it rewards belief. And belief begins with what people see. Your walk, your tone, your presence. They write your story long before your results do. Dignity demands tribute long before title grants it. Because people don't treat you as you are, they treat you as you appear. So carry the crown before they hand it to you. You wait for validation, a raise, a title, applause. You wait for the world to recognize your worth before you act like you deserve it. That waiting, that hesitation, it's weakness, performed in public. Think of the employee who quietly delivers flawless work every week, hoping someone will notice. They never do. Now, look at the one who walks into meetings with composure, speaks with gravity, and claims responsibility before being asked. People start treating him like a leader long before the promotion arrives. The world doesn't obey competence. It submits to conviction. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wrote that a prince must project majesty through ceremony, confidence, and distance. Grandeur isn't inherited. It's rehearsed until it becomes reputation. The king's power doesn't come from his crown. It comes from how he carries its weight before wearing it. That's why royal courts built rituals, symbols, and etiquette. They weren't niceties. They were weapons of control. When you behave as though your presence has value, others start believing it has value too. Because the modern battlefield isn't the palace, it's perception. Confidence is currency. Image is leverage. Look at the masters of modern royalty. Jobs, the black turtleneck, simplicity as supremacy. Musk, arriving late, time itself orbiting him. Obama, calm precision, pauses carved from marble. Each one a ritual of dominance. Proof that people don't follow talent, they follow tone. So how do you act like royalty without the crown? Upgrade your symbols, your attire, your space, your tools. Every detail whispers allegiance or defiance. Make them whisper power. Speak less, move slower. The truly powerful never rush. Urgency is for the desperate. Patience is for the dominant. A delayed reply, a silent look, a pause before answering. These are modern ceremonies of command. Decline small offers. When you say no to mediocrity, you raise your market price. Every yes should cost something. Ration your availability like a luxury good. Enforce boundaries like a monarch guards protocol. Respond when you choose, not when you're summoned. Make access a privilege, not a right, because in the court of perception, scarcity breeds reverence. Let's make it real. A young executive once claimed a corner office before he was promoted. He dressed the part, spoke with certainty, greeted clients like a man in command. 6 months later, when management restructured, guess who filled the leadership gap? He didn't ask for permission. He became the expectation. Or the musician who refused small gigs, demanded proper stage setups, and carried himself like a brand, not a beggar. At first, they mocked his arrogance. Then they started paying for it. Even in relationships, the same law rules. The one who values their time, dresses with precision, and moves with quiet certainty, commands respect without asking. Because self-respect is a silent crown the world recognizes instantly. Act crowned, and the world kneels to its own illusion. Carry the crown before they hand it to you, and one day, they will. Because in the theater of power, rehearsal isn't pretending, it's preparation, and those who play kings long enough become them.
Hey guys, we're Wisdom, based in Abu Dhabi. We use AI tools to make these concepts come to life, but it's our amazing team who goes deep, breaking down powerful philosophical ideas and showing how they really apply in everyday life. We hope you enjoyed today's content.
Law 2. Master the art of timing. Time is the unseen weapon. You can possess skill, knowledge, and advantage, but strike too early or too late, and victory rots into waste. Power isn't only what you do, it's when you do it. Wait like a snake. Strike like lightning. Impatience broadcasts fear. Hesitation leaks opportunity. You treat time like background noise, when in truth, it's the battlefield itself. The difference between a master and an amateur isn't speed, it's rhythm. Look back at your greatest failures. Most weren't errors of judgment, they were errors of timing. You confessed too early and killed attraction. You pitched before they were ready to listen and lost the deal. You sold before the rally, or held until profit decayed. You acted right, but you acted at the wrong time. Machiavelli saw it clearly. He said a ruler must read the spirit of the times. He called it tempo, the rhythm of fortune. Fortune favors the one whose actions fit the moment. The fox must know when to vanish. The lion must know when to pounce. The same move that wins one season can destroy you in another. A prince who attacks in winter looks reckless. A prince who waits through spring looks wise. Timing isn't patience. It's precision disguised as calm. In the modern world, this law decides everything. A startup launches too soon. The market blinks, confused. It dies quietly. Another waits just long enough for pain to spread, then releases the cure at the peak of demand. The world calls it genius. Netflix waited until broadband ruled. Apple waited until piracy burned the music industry. Buffett buys when others drown in fear. Same brilliance, different moment, different destiny. Timing turns ordinary people into legends. A comedian pauses one beat longer. The crowd erupts. A general delays by a single night. The enemy sleeps in their graves. A negotiator stretches silence, and the other side folds under its weight. They didn't win through strength, they won through rhythm, but the masses ruin themselves by rushing. They confuse movement with momentum. They fear stillness. They post too early, speak too soon, react too fast. In their desperation to prove control, they expose their lack of it. Every king knows. The one who moves first in panic always loses to the one who moves last, on purpose. So how do you master timing? Study cycles, markets' moods, relationships. Everything breathes in waves. Learn when people tire, when they crave, when they break. Build while others rest. When the crowd is distracted, prepare. When they panic, act. That's where leverage hides, in silence. Never rush to speak. Silence is pressure. Let others fill it with mistakes, and when the window opens, move explosively. No hesitation, no doubt. Timing rewards the calm who strike like lightning. Look at the evidence. When Musk delayed Cybertruck for years, the world mocked the wait, until the reveal became legend. When Jordan Belfort dumped stocks before the crash, it wasn't luck. It was attunement. When an influencer vanishes for months, then returns with a rebirth, the silence itself becomes strategy. Even in personal life, the one who responds slowly, who waits before reacting in anger, always controls the dynamic. Because silence makes others reveal themselves, and waiting makes them rush into their own undoing. Patience is camouflage. Timing is assassination. The most powerful move isn't made with speed. It's made with precision. The predator who waits too long starves. The one who moves too early dies seen. But the one who moves at the perfect second feeds for a lifetime. Wait like a snake, strike like lightning, because fortune doesn't favor the fast, it favors the timed. Law 3. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. Attention feeds enemies. Contempt starves them. The moment you react, you make them matter. The moment you ignore, you make them disappear. Power isn't proven through confrontation. It's proven through indifference. Starve the undeserving. Let silence be your scorn. You chase what rejects you. You argue with critics. You defend every slight, trying to prove your worth to those who already decided you have none. Each reply, each justification is tribute paid to irrelevance. When you fight small enemies, you shrink to their size. Machiavelli warned rulers, never dignify insults with retaliation. Grandeur, he said, lies in selective blindness, in seeing only what serves your rule. A prince who punishes every offense teaches the world he can be provoked. But a ruler who smiles and walks away teaches fear, because his silence is unpredictable. To ignore is not weakness, it's higher strategy. It signals that your attention is too valuable to be wasted. An entrepreneur sees a rival mocking him online. He claps back, argues, posts proof, and drives traffic to his rival's page. The rival wins, not through truth, but through attention. Another founder sees the same insult, says nothing, and quietly signs 2 new clients. The rival fades. That's power. Invisible retaliation. Look at celebrities. When an influencer fights every insult, the drama grows. But when Taylor Swift stays silent, silence becomes intrigue, and intrigue converts to currency. That's why the powerful rarely explain themselves. Every defense is an admission of insecurity. You text someone who doesn't reply. You double text. You spiral, seeking validation. In doing so, you hand them control. But when you say nothing, when you vanish into focus, they start wondering what replaced them. Curiosity becomes punishment. People crave your attention more than your affection. Withhold it, and they starve. Online attacks, gossip, rivalry. They all survive on oxygen called engagement. Every comment, every clarification, every emotional reaction keeps them alive. But when you give nothing, no emotion, no reply, no defense, they suffocate in silence. That's how empires win wars without lifting a sword. Set a hierarchy of battles. Not every insult deserves your sword. Save your strength for wars that expand your empire, not ones that entertain your enemies. Withdraw recognition. Pretend you never saw it. Let them scream into the void. Their insecurity will echo louder than any revenge. Replace reaction with redirection. Build something bigger. Let your next move, not your next word, be your answer. Success is the only insult that leaves scars. Let envy die unattended. The envious feast on awareness. Starve them, and they devour themselves. When Jeff Bezos was mocked for selling books online, he never argued, he expanded. And now, those critics sell on his platform. When Michael Jordan was cut from his high school team, he didn't beg for validation. He trained in silence. The world remembers his dominance, not his doubt. When Elon Musk is attacked by analysts, he doesn't respond with words. He builds something new, and the headlines rewrite themselves. Even in relationships, the moment you stop explaining yourself to the unworthy, your peace becomes your weapon. You don't need revenge. You need results. What you ignore decays. What you chase survives. So choose your silences wisely. Each one is a statement. To disdain is not arrogance. It's discipline. The refusal to feed what deserves starvation, because nothing dies faster than being unseen. And in the game of power, the final humiliation is not defeat. It's being ignored. Law 4. Create compelling spectacles. The eye obeys before the mind decides. Before logic forms, perception rules. Showmanship isn't decoration, it's domination disguised as beauty. In the modern world, power doesn't whisper, it performs. Dazzle, then do as you please. You rely on reason. You argue with facts, with data, with quiet competence. But this is a visual aid. An unseen virtue dies in the shadows. People don't remember logic. They remember theater. You can win the argument and still lose the crowd, because the world doesn't crave truth. It craves a scene worth watching. Machiavelli knew this long before the camera existed. He wrote that rulers must act out greatness, through pageantry, through ceremony, through spectacle. He understood that people judge by sight. They crave symbols, not explanations. A prince must appear majestic even when he's uncertain, because appearance creates belief, and belief becomes power. A trembling ruler who stages confidence commands loyalty from those who mistake poise for destiny. That's not deceit, that's theater as survival. Look around. This law shapes every arena of modern power. When Steve Jobs unveiled the first iPhone, he didn't list specs. He dimmed the lights. He paused, then said, an iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator, all in one. The audience gasped before they understood a single feature. That wasn't marketing, that was Machiavellian pageantry. When Elon Musk launched the Cybertruck, a vehicle that looked torn from the future, the broken glass moment wasn't failure, it was spectacle. The world mocked, obsessed, and watched again. Controversy became its own campaign. Even politics bows to this law. The private jet, the flashing cameras, the perfect lighting, the rolled-up sleeves. None of it's coincidence. Every frame is crafted to convert emotion into obedience. Power doesn't just communicate, it choreographs. The same truth governs your life. The manager who hides behind spreadsheets is forgotten. The one who commands a room with clean visuals and a single, prophetic slide gets funded. A brand that speaks through moving images sells twice as fast as one that speaks in plain text. An artist who releases a track quietly is ignored. The one who releases with color, identity, and ritual creates a spectacle around sound. Even in relationships, the one who carries presence, who walks into a room and changes the temperature without speaking, commands gravity. That's not arrogance, it's architecture. You don't just show up, you stage yourself. Stage moments of visual dominance, create scenes that demand attention. Before you speak, control the frame. Use color, contrast, and motion. Humans are hardwired to worship what glows and moves. Red, black, and gold, the colors of empires and brands alike. Coca-Cola, Ferrari, Versace, McDonald's. They don't compete for your logic, they command your gaze. Hide labor, reveal awe. Let them see the masterpiece, not the mess. The less they see your struggle, the more they'll believe your power is divine. Associate your image with inevitability. Your voice, your symbol, your style. Each should whisper, "This is the future." That's why Apple's bitten apple, Nike's swoosh, and Tesla's T need no explanation. They are identity incarnate. When Muhammad Ali declared, "I am the greatest," he didn't just box. He performed greatness until the world believed it. When a luxury brand hosts a runway in the Louvre, it's not selling fabric, it's selling myth. When a tech founder in a black turtleneck speaks on a dark stage, they're not selling innovation, they're selling the illusion of history being made. And when you walk into a room, how you stand, pause, and move creates an imprint deeper than your resume. That's your stage. That's your pageantry. Spectacle blinds suspicion. The dazzled don't resist. Because once people are enchanted, they stop analyzing. And when they stop analyzing, you move freely, unseen beneath their awe. So stop arguing your worth. Start displaying it. Stage your power like theater. Every movement, every silence, every frame, intentional. The world doesn't remember who was right. It remembers who looked right. In the empire of influence, truth persuades slowly, but spectacle conquers instantly. Dazzle. Then do as you please. Law 5. Think as you like, but behave like others. Rebellion in thought is power. Rebellion in manner is suicide. In a world ruled by conformity, difference is dangerous until it's validated. So, blend in to stand apart later. You display your difference too soon. You speak too honestly. You flaunt intellect. You mock convention. And then you wonder why the world turns cold. You think rebellion earns respect, but early rebellion only earns resistance. Society doesn't crucify rebels for being wrong. It crucifies them for being early. Machiavelli saw this truth centuries ago. He warned that a ruler introducing reform must disguise innovation in the language of tradition. Call it restoration, not revolution. Present the new as the return of the old. Because people don't hate change, they hate surprise. They crave nostalgia. He wrote that outward conformity preserves inner autonomy, that the wise ruler hides revolution behind familiar rituals. That's not cowardice, it's camouflage. In today's world, this law divides visionaries who survive from geniuses who vanish. A startup founder says, "I'm going to destroy the banking system." Investors retreat. Another says, "I'm building a more inclusive financial network." Investors lean in. Same mission, different mask. A corporate rebel storms into meetings, calling out inefficiency, and gets labeled difficult. Another adopts the tone, the language, the rituals, and proposes process improvement. They get promoted and change the system from within. Even Steve Jobs, the icon of creative rebellion, wore a suit in Apple's early years. He spoke the language of the establishment before he rewrote it. He blended in until his results gave him immunity. This law plays out everywhere. At work, the one who questions too soon gets marked as a threat. The one who earns trust first, then challenges quietly, is called a visionary. On social media, the creator who mocks every trend immediately is dismissed as arrogant. The one who plays along first, builds trust, and then breaks the format, becomes iconic. Even in relationships, the person who flaunts total individuality from day one feels distant. But the one who mirrors first, connects deeply, then slowly reveals their difference, creates fascination instead of friction. Camouflage isn't submission, it's strategy. Mirror the tribe's rituals and slang. Speak their language before you teach your own. People follow what feels familiar. Hide your heresies in private notebooks. Plan your revolution in silence. Think freely. Act strategically. When proposing change, frame it as a return to first principles. Don't say, "Let's reinvent." Say, "Let's return to what made us great." Nostalgia disarms resistance. Let your eccentricity emerge after you hold leverage, because power grants permission. Once you have results, difference becomes visionary. Until then, it's rebellion without protection. Jeff Bezos didn't say, "I'm changing global commerce." He said, I'm building a bookstore, online. That disguise let him infiltrate retail before he conquered it. Barack Obama didn't promise revolution, he promised hope, change. Wrapped in the language of unity and patriotism, only once trusted did he steer transformation. TikTok didn't arrive saying, "We're replacing YouTube." It said, "We're a short video app." Now it controls global attention. Even in daily life, the employee who mirrors management's tone gets invited behind closed doors. The artist who first imitates, then innovates, wins the same audience that would have rejected them had they appeared too different too soon. Every revolution that endures first learns the language of the empire it seeks to replace. The rebel who blends in outlives the rebel who roars, because while the loud one burns, the quiet one builds. Hide the revolution inside the routine. Blend in now, so one day you won't have to, because rebellion in thought is power. But rebellion in manner, that's suicide. The wise don't shout difference. They disguise it, until difference becomes destiny.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the resources and the original books we used today. We'll see you in the next one.